This one to me is really interesting because it's a cemetery, and of course we have Arlington National Cemetery where a lot of our visitors go, and there are a few, primary things they go to see when they're at Arlington. They see the changing of the guard, they see JFK's eternal flame, and a few other things. And I actually recently saw an ad, I believe it was on the Metro for Congressional Cemetery, and it was advertising being buried there, and it said, "You don't have to be famous, you just have to be dead." So I think the interesting thing is that, you hear the name and you think, oh, this is where all Congress members get buried, but in fact, that's actually not the case.
It's funny you mention that because I looked at the FAQs on their website and they said the same thing. You just have to be dead to be buried there. So Congressional Cemetery is actually really old. So the city was established, became the capital of the United States in 1800. The cemetery was established only 7 years later in 1807. It's called Congressional Cemetery, but it's actually privately owned by a nonprofit, but it's open to the public. Anybody's allowed to go visit it. The U.S. government does control 806 burial plots there, which were given to many notables in the 19th century. What's also interesting is that there's something there called a cenotaph, which is like a stone cube with a cone on top. And it can have three meanings. It can actually mean that the person is buried under it, or it could just be a monument to mean the person is being honored there but buried elsewhere in the cemetery, or it means the person is being honored and buried somewhere else in the country. Many members of Congress who died in office in the 19th century are interred there, including one vice president, one Supreme Court justice, 6 cabinet members, 19 senators, 71 representatives, veterans from every wars. Some of the notable cenotaphs that you'll find there's one for John Quincy Adams, although, again, he was buried somewhere else. J. Edgar Hoover, who ran the FBI, Alan Locke, Marion Barry, former mayor of D.C., Elbridge Gerry, John Philip Sousa, Technical Sergeant Leonard Matlovich. He was actually the first service member to deliberately out himself in the military. His grave is actually very notable because he turned down to be buried in Arlington, and on his grave it says, "When I was in the military, they gave me a medal for killing 2 men and a discharge for loving 1."
Hey, thanks for listening to this podcast highlight. This is just a small piece of the entire episode, so if you want to hear the whole thing, you can search for Trip Hacks DC in your favorite podcast app, or head on over to triphacksdc.com/podcast. If you like getting these clips, make sure to subscribe to this channel by clicking or tapping on the Trip Hacks DC logo, which is popping up right now at the bottom of the screen. If you want to watch another clip, go ahead and click or tap up here. Or, for Washington, D.C. tips and hacks videos from the main channel, go ahead and click or tap right down here. Enjoy your trip!